I wanted to show you this time how to sidechain effectively. And when we have a kick and we have a sub bass, we want them to work together. It's sort of low frequency management. If the low end or the sub bass is not getting out of the way of the kick, we have a little bit of this congestion in the low end. And it feels like a kick is trying to kick through some kind of like impervious wall of bass. And it sounds congested. It makes the speakers lock up. And if you push up the levels, it only makes it worse and more restricted in a mix. And I'm sure we've all had that experience. So we want to make the sub bass duck a little bit to the kick. And there's really two choices here. In Pro-MB, we can have just the low frequencies that collide, or where the traffic is duck. And that's one style. That's multi-band sidechaining. Or we can do single band sidechaining with some extra tricks, and it can be equally effective. So what I want to do is just show you the effect, and then we could sort of go backwards through it a little bit and see how we achieved it. And I did make this preset available as a good starting place. You always have to cook by taste. You can't just slap presets on and mix it and mastering. But these are interesting starting places for you to retro engineer and make little adjustments. So we have a very, very cool track from DJ Tofta, who is a Mixmaster Wyatt graduate. And let's listen to the kick soloed and the sub bass soloed with Pro-C2 on in sidechain mode. Okay, so there you can see the dynamics here of where the kick drum is kicking in and causing the compressor to push down on the sub bass just for those moments. Let's listen to them unsidechained for a second. So you can see that there's a bounce and a very increased power with the sidechain in effect. Now, we can listen to the kick by itself for a second. So it's got a good clicky attack, but it's a long bass note. And we can listen to the sub bass for a second. And it's sort of this constant tone, so you could see how they could fight. So now we put them together, put the sidechain on. Now I have set the threshold so that the compressor's reacting. My starting ratio was 10:1, and I kind of backed it off to around 8.27. But again, don't get hung up on the numbers. Just get the feeling. I like the response of opto for sidechaining. I just find that it's bouncy and musical. You can try them all. They're all a little bit different. I find opto to work very, very well. And we have a fast attack because we want, as soon as the kick kicks, we want the sub bass to get out of the way. So we want a fast attack and a pretty fast release. And we have auto gain on. I've seen people do this with auto gain on and off. I find that the auto gain algorithm in Pro-C2 is so musical, I tend to leave it on. Over here, I have a sort of a mostly soft knee. It's just what seemed to make sense with these two particular sounds. And you can constrain how much ducking effect you're going to get with the range. And that's new in Pro-C2. You're very rarely going to see any compressor that anywhere with a range control. So the range control is key. We have the look ahead going, which allows the compressor to internally use the latency to get to that kick in time to turn it down. So we have some look ahead turned on. And Pro-C2 is also, I think, the first compressor that has oversampling, which again just sort of minimizes digital distortion when you're doing heavy compression. So that's turn it on if your computer can take it. I leave mine on. Here's another cool Pro-C2 parameter, which is the hold. You are rarely going to see a compressor with a hold control. It's usually in a gate. And what that allows you to do is once the compression kicks in, it will hold it down at an even level, even if the input signal changes a little bit. It's not going to move up and down and breathe on you, kind of holds it down, just like it sounds. And what you can do, and what I did with this preset for this kick, is I adjusted the hold to get the full body of the kick. So the compressor was sort of allowing that constant snapshot of that kick to be and sort of create the ducking. So very, very useful. So, once again, and of course, just to clarify, when we're sidechaining, we're in external sidechain input mode, and I'm telling it to listen to the kick. So finally, here's a big deal. EQing the sidechain signal so that you're controlling what the bass is bouncing to. And we saw before that this is a long kick. And so a long kick is going to cause the compression to hang out longer than it probably needs to for the musical bounce. But the cool thing about it is that if the bass, sub-bass goes away or the kick goes away, each element gets to really be itself. It's only when they're playing together that this effect really kicks in. So I'm filtering the sidechain at 200 with a 24 dB per octave slope on a low cut. And then on the highs, I'm around whatever it is, 880. Now, here, watch what a big deal the low cut on the sidechain makes for the bounce, and we'll turn it on and off here. I mean, some of the things we do are subtle, but that is certainly not subtle at all. That's a game changer right there. So if people have been sidechaining and saying, hey, you know, I'm missing something because this isn't doing that thing that I hear on the commercial tracks, this is what it is. You want to shorten the note on the low end so that the trigger that makes the sub bass duck isn't so long, and then you get that breathing, pumping effect. And also we're cutting some extra highs just to tighten up that impulse that's creating the triggering. So there you go. All new things in Pro-C2 and this amazing ability to filter the internal or external sidechain, which creates a completely different response. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed the tutorial. We'll keep them coming.